One of the unexpected benefits of the pandemic is that many Buddhist teachings and retreats have been held online and accessible to many more people. And we've been especially fortunate that His Holiness has decided to teach online this last year, giving virtual teachings at least once a month and sometimes many more times. In his January 6 Heart Sutra teaching, he said the following: when you receive explanations of a teaching from your Lama, you should go over them again and again, reflecting on them every day so that whatever you have understood through the teaching should become a conviction through familiarizing. Then there will be a transformation of your mind. This is going to happen, and therefore, whatever teachings you have heard, you should reflect on them and read other books and scriptures. As I'm giving a brief explanation, specifically the Heart Sutra, you'll find more explanation in the scriptures, and maybe there are some points which you will not find in those texts. He said, receiving teachings is not counting how many times you have received them, but the purpose is to make a transformation in your mind. I have received teachings on the stages of the past since my childhood. I've also received experiential guided instructions on them. Without giving thought to them, they don't have much impact on you. But as time went by, I reflected on them again and again, and also compared them to teachings, to other treatises to complement those teachings. Therefore, through my familiarization, he said, what has happened is that as soon as I wake up in the morning, I tend to say prayers such as long as space endures and as long as sentient beings remain. And it's also the case with meditation on emptiness. For instance, the master Nagarjuna said, dependently arisen phenomena are said to be empty and designated. This is the middle way. So I felt personally chastised by this comment that His Holiness made, because although I enjoyed listening to his teachings, I haven't made the time to go back and reflect on, read them, first of all, and then reflect on them. And certainly no meditation was happening. And maybe this is similar to the admonishment that Shantideva was giving us in the chapter on guarding alertness, beseeching us with folded hands to always guard our mind. And this advice from His Holiness is doubly challenging because he often teaches on very difficult subjects, like emptiness. In most of the talks His Holiness gave, maybe you noticed too that he mentioned a few topics again and again and again. And so I've tried to pay special attention to them. It goes without saying that he encourages us to generate bodhicitta and offer the bodhisattva vow ceremony several times. He seemed particularly pleased that quantum physicists have confirmed the Buddha's assertion that things have no objective existence. And we might ask, well, how does that apply to me? How does that apply to my Dharma practice? Well, all day long we come in contact with things around us that appear to be objectively existent. They appear to be objectively good or bad, objectively pleasing or not pleasing, objectively attractive or ugly. And then on a basis of our perceptions to that objective existence, then we generate attachment and aversion and jealousy and arrogance, etc. So quantum physicists have refuted the idea of an observer that is completely divorced and separate from the object observed. They've also shown that when we break down any objectively appearing phenomena to its constituents and subatomic particles, nothing can be found, just like searching for the object of negation. Also, he mentioned Aryadeva's famous verse, just as the physical sense faculties permeate all other sense faculties, so ignorance permeates all other afflictions. This reminds us that by destroying ignorance and confusion, all mental afflictions can be eliminated. The root of the problem is having misconceptions about true existence of phenomena and self. His Holiness also mentioned the first verse in chapter 22 from Nagarjuna's Fundamental Wisdom, the main text for understanding emptiness, that says, not one with the aggregates, not separate from them, he is not based on them, nor are they on him. The Tathagata does not possess the aggregates. Who then is the Tathagata? And he shared with us how he reverted that verse so that he was able to apply it to himself. Not the aggregates, nor separate from them. I am not based on them, nor are they on me. I do not possess the aggregates. Who then am I? So he's given it to us on a platter. Here, think about this. The main commentary to Nagarjuna's text is Chandrakirti's supplement to the treatise on the Middle Way. And His Holiness mentioned many times that he memorized this text as a young boy. And from Chandrakirti's supplement, he repeatedly mentioned 4 absurdities from holding inherent existence. Do you remember hearing these 4 absurdities? He never went into great detail on them, but he did allude to them. And there's nothing like trying to explain something to help us acquaint it with our minds. So I'm going to try to explain the first of the 4 points, relying on a commentary by Geshe Jumpa Gyatso and some teachings I received in 2012. It goes without saying that my understanding of these 4 absurdities is very superficial, but if they're important to His Holiness, hey, with a good motivation, I'm going to try to understand them and at least familiarize myself with the words. So what are the 4? Chandrakirti mentioned these in chapter 6 in verses 34 to 36. If phenomena inherently existed, then these 4 absurdities would follow. An Arya's exalted wisdom of meditative equipoise on emptiness would be a destroyer of things. Conventional truths would be able to withstand ultimate analysis. Ultimate production could not be refuted. And the 4th point actually comes from Chandrakirti's auto-commentary to the supplement. And it says, the scriptural statement that phenomena are empty from their own side would be unfeasible. His Holiness said he frequently reflected on these points because they reinforce the fact that phenomena lack inherent existence, which assures that his meditation on emptiness will be accurate. He'll progress correctly. These 4 consequences are mainly flung by the prasangikas to the svatantrikas, or the consequentialists to the autonomist. And so to really understand these, we need some background in tenets and grounds and paths to make sense of them. So just as a summary, svatantrikas refute true existence and ultimate existence, but they say that things inherently exist, that they are established by way of their own character, they exist from their own side. On the other hand, the prasangikas say inherent existence, establishment by way of its own character, existing from its own side, and true existence all come to the same point. All point to the same object of negation, and all point to the same ignorance. That's the root of our cyclic existence. So since our awakening depends on realizing emptiness of these objects of negation, then understanding these differences is crucial to our meditation. We're probably more like the svatantrikas going through our daily life. Things appear to be inherent existence, and we assent to that, don't we? So understanding this can be helpful. So let's look at the first one. An Arya's exalted wisdom of meditative equipoise on emptiness would be a destroyer of things. So this is found in the section of the text that refutes inherent production, particularly. So why does it follow that if there is inherent production, the Arya's exalted wisdom of meditative equipoise becomes a cause for the destruction of things? Because an Arya's exalted wisdom of meditative equipoise on emptiness realizes the non-existence of inherent existence. And these are objects of negation refuted by that meditative equipoise. Therefore, because the exalted wisdom of meditative equipoise negates inherent existence, if things actually existed inherently, then they would also be negated by that meditative equipoise, right? And then it absurdly follows that the Arya's exalted wisdom of meditative equipoise must have destroyed them. So in verse 34, Chandrakirti says, if own character were dependent, by deprecating that, the nature of things would be destroyed. Therefore, if emptiness were to become a cause for the destruction of things, that would not be suitable. Therefore, things do not inherently exist. So an Arya Bodhisattva, single-pointedly absorbed in meditative equipoise on emptiness of inherent existence of phenomena, realizes that all phenomena are empty of inherent existence. And in that perspective of that meditative equipoise, there is no inherent production. No inherent production is seen. It's not found. So if inherent production had existed, as the Svatantrikas assert or claim, then it is as if the exalted wisdom of meditative equipoise destroyed it, made it go away. So there are things that are destroyed by the Arya's meditative equipoise on emptiness, such as afflictive and cognitive obscurations, but not conventional phenomena in general. So of course, all of this is just at the intellectual level for me right now, but I think making an effort to follow His Holiness's advice, to review the teachings that he's given us, especially with a good motivation, and thinking about such things can only help us accumulate some good karma. And so I hope that you'll feel encouraged to go back and pull out your notes from all the teachings that he gave us last year and even beginning this year, and just familiarize mind with it a little bit more.